Folks, you're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio, audio, no pictures live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about a case that, or situation that I came across. Well, we know these two, they're both scientists, and they retired about the same time. They've got quite a large garden, and they grow a lot of their own fruit and vegetables in the garden, and they seem to do quite well out of it. So anyway, they reported an incident where they heard a commotion in the backyard, and they looked out, and there's a man that looks like his origins lie in Africa, and he's got a bunch of bags with him. He's busily helping himself to all the fruit and vegetables in their garden, and he's jumped the fence to get in there. So they ask him to stop. He becomes aggressive and threatens them. They call the police. The police come, tell the guy to leave. He won't. The police arrest him, and off it goes. A few hours later, they look out in the backyard, and there's the guy. He's back there again, and this time, and he's making an even more aggressive moves against them and threatening them that they should keep out of his way while he helps himself to their fruit and vegetables. So they call the police again. The police and I'm paraphrasing them now. Police say, well, it's kind of a sensitive racial issue, and we don't really want to get involved. If you've got a problem with it, why don't you hire a lawyer and sort it out yourself? So this is strange because trespassing on someone's private property, stealing their stuff, threatening them with bodily harm. These are all laws are being broken left, right, and centre here, and yet the police claim they can't do anything. So very, very strange. Comes back to the two-tier policing thing, and of course ideological law, which is creeping into all law, and only straight white males can be held accountable to the law, and everyone else gets a degree of dispensation depending on their ideologically predetermined and thus prejudicial amount of social power they supposedly have. So those with low social power are not accountable to the law. It is really where we're at here. So anyway, and this is, I guess, feeds into a few things I've talked about, is that many people from, not all, but many people from third world countries, especially the rural villages, they've got no concept of private ownership or private property or trespass, or they don't conceive it. They have no institutions in their countries that have developed around those things of private property and so on, that you can privately own stuff. They just don't have it, so they don't understand it. Now, when they come to a country where those another place where those laws do exist, you would think it would be incumbent on the government that's aggressively inviting vast number of these people in to make sure they're educated in at least these basic sort of tenets of law and custom and contracts and so on in the West. But either then it's not happening, or if it is happening, these people are conveniently forgetting about it a moment after it's been told them. Now, so anyway, a community liaison officer appears from I don't know, it's the local council or the state government or something like that, but a liaison officer appears to talk to this elderly white couple. Now, the gist of it, again, which I'm paraphrasing and they've passed on to me, I wasn't there, but the gist of it is that the liaison officer says, well, look, these people don't understand the law here. They don't understand that you can't go into someone's backyard and steal their stuff. They just don't understand it. So, look, the easy thing to do here is we don't want to prosecute them because of cultural sensitivity issues. It's not their fault they don't know, and why do we have to hold them to a legal standard when it's only going to create problems? And so why don't you just let them take whatever they want, and if they want to, just let them take it. Just let them take, and then you're performing some sort of higher service for racial equality and equity and and by the way, you're keeping the peace, because the only problem here is you complaining about it. It's not that they jump the fence. It's not that they steal your stuff. That's not the problem. The problem is you complaining about it. That's the problem. So if you don't complain, then it's not a problem, and no law is being broken because you're not pointing it out or complaining about it. Now, this is very much the attitude that's taken by globalist controlled Western governments, saying the problem isn't mass migration. The problem isn't bringing in third world peasants en masse. The problem isn't that. The problem is when white people say it's a problem. That's the problem. The white people are the problem. They're because they're fucking Nazis. They're Hitler. So this was the... Now, they couldn't believe it. They were sort of, their jaws dropped to the floor. But I see this as consistent with a lot of what I see around me. Say, certainly what I've observed in the divorce courts. When he does something, then it's a real problem, and the court has to, and the authorities have to deal with it, and they really have to go after this guy and hold him to account. The man, the straight white man, they've really got to, he's got to change his ways, and we're going to go after him, and we're going to really get him. But when she does exactly the same thing, and with malice, it is the mother of the children. Why do we have to really give her why don't we just let this go? Maybe give her a bit of a finger wagging, but why do we have to, hey. But when he does it, that fucking damn Nazi, we're gonna fucking. So two very different tiers of justice. I mean, just one example was this is on divorce. They've gone there into separate households. The man took the family dog with him, and this came out in court that he'd done that. The dog wasn't mistreating; it was fine. No one was saying there was a problem, that something bad was done to the dog. But the fact that he took the dog, he presumed. So it was argued he presumed that the dog was his. Was wow. I mean, the judge and the lawyers for the mother and the lawyers for the children really had to go. They fucking pilloried him for this. I mean, this is just proof that he is evil as Hitler. But in another case where the woman poisoned the dog, so it died a horrible and painful death. Poisoned the dog just so the ex-husband could not have the dog. That doesn't really matter. No, we can just move on past that. That's not relevant to anything. Why do we have to go over that? No, the judge says, I don't want to listen to. I'm not interested in any of that. Move along. Suddenly it's a non-issue. So we see this, and wherever you see gender and race and so on, you see that. Now I remember friends of mine at school where, say there was, one of my buddies at school when we were, 13 or 14 or something like that. It was around sort of middle high school type. He had a sister who was, 5 years younger, something like that. And she was a snotty little thing, and so she whenever I came around, she wanted to get involved, and so if we didn't, when you're 14 or something, you got a 9 or 10-year-old girl hanging around, you just don't want that. So, but she would just scream and cry and tantrum and stamp her feet and slam doors and do very, very girly tantrum things, and so her dad would come along and say, how dare you talk to my little baby that way, and this sort of thing. But the mother would come around and say, well, why don't you just let her, she wants to play or get involved or be with you. Why don't you just let her do it? I mean, what's the problem? Why can't you just give, if she wants to play with that toy or do this or do that, Well, why not? If you're playing chess and she wants to tip the board over because you're not giving her enough attention, well, why do you care? Just start another game, just put the pieces back on the board and start again. Why is it a problem? And just cut her more slack and just let her off the. So this is something where it was, I mean, you call it the bigotry of low expectations, but she's young, and why don't you just let her do it? And so that attitude in parents. Now, I noticed this that crept into the high schools or the schools, education system. I went to pick up my son one day from school, and while they were trying to find him or look for him, I sort of sat down, just waited outside the administration office, and right next to the administration office was a sports field, and the kids were there playing like soccer, and the boys were winning, and the impression I got was that the impression I got was the teacher had put the most capable girls, athletically the most capable girls, with the least athletic capable boys, and the boys were still winning, and so the female teacher, was calling out to the boys, well, just let the girls win. Well, why do you have to want to win? Why do you want to win? Why don't you just let the girls win? That's the, and this is something that permeates society generally, that only straight white men are considered responsible, capable, citizens where the law must be applied. Everyone else has less social power or less capability, call it what you like, and therefore the law should not apply to them. They're too stupid to abide by the law. They're just too lazy to do this, or they're too stupid, or they're too this or too that. But whatever, they're culturally unaware, or they come from a third world country, they've got an IQ of 80. It doesn't matter. They shouldn't be held to the same standard as others. Now, that sort of could work if straight white males were considered to be the epitome of the upstanding citizen. So there was a time when, if you were going to go into court, for example, you would shine your shoes, wear your best suit, have your hair done, shave, and look like you were an upstanding citizen, an upholder of the value system. But this has now changed, where lawyers now openly say, for fuck's sake, do not wear a suit. Do not look like you have any money. Do not look like you're confident. Do not look like you know what you're doing. Do not look like you're a player or in the game. Or do not look like you understand the law. None of these things. Wear jeans with holes in them. Wear a dusty, dirty baseball hat. Wear a crappy shirt. Do not look like you're confident or you have money, because then the judge will say, or the court will say, well, you're the problem. So look as poor and as stupid. Drool out of the corner of your mouth if you fucking have to, but do not look like you know what you're doing, or you're a responsible person. So you can get court cases now where both people may be well off, well to do with it. They're out trying to out-compete each other with how many holes they've got in their jeans, or how much their joggers are falling apart. So things have gone into reverse there. But it's interesting to note just the increase in this. That if you complain about the illegal behaviour of the illegal alien, that the problem is you, not them. Fuck, how did we get to this stage? You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.